Well, hello, hello. Welcome. I am excited to see you today on a Thursday morning. My name is Teresa Poor, and I'm so excited to see you again. I had a business networking event this morning, and over the last couple of days, I had preparing a message, and this specific message kept revealing itself to me as I was preparing for different topics of discussion that I was going to have in different people in different groups. And so I thought I wanted to come to you today on Facebook and just share with you these words of encouragement. And so today's topic of discussion is about the power of one. You see, I feel like each and every one of us were made, built, born on purpose for a very, very specific purpose. And sometimes in life, we get wrapped up, especially in today's time when we are literally like in this what I'm going to call a fishbowl economy. And I'll get back to what that means and where that little discovery came from in a minute. But we sometimes get caught up in this grand picture about impact or purpose and things of that nature. And we sometimes forget that our assignment may be to the power of one. So let me dig in. As I mentioned, who we are matters and what we do makes a difference. And I was chatting with a friend a couple of months ago. We were chatting about something, and I'm like, I feel like we're living in this fishbowl. And a couple of days ago, I had this like revelation that seriously, at this point in time, we have access to people all over the planet. Like right now on social media, you can be connected to anybody anywhere, right? And as I reflect on how powerful that is, I also think about how important that is and how our purpose has an opportunity right now to be magnified like never before in history. And then I think, how special are you? And how special am I that we were selected to be part of that right now? Like we got to be chosen to be part of the people that were around when we have the opportunity for the absolute most impact. Yesterday I went and I watched the movie Sound of Freedom, and I know I know. There's a whole lot of political back and forth, which is absolutely unnecessary. This movie was an incredible movie about a man who was given this heart's desire to save a child after seeing the devastation of what, sex trafficking can be. And he, in the process of going after one, he ended up saving over 120 children from sex trafficking, and in addition to that, has completely brought a new awareness to the whole world about this horrible, horrible situation. And that really solidified this feeling that I've been having for the last couple of days that sometimes our purpose is gigantic, but then sometimes it's about the one person that we were supposed to connect with. And I was reminded of a story in the Bible of a prophet named Elijah. And Elijah was one of the major prophets in the Bible that was set in a time when King Ahab was ruling, and he was, these people were worshiping other gods. They were just being destructive and having a horrible thing. And God told Elijah, he said, I'm going to bring a drought in this land. So essentially, he said, go and hide and get away for a little while. And so Elijah knew his purpose was to deliver these people, but that God said, go hide and hang out over there for a little while and don't do anything yet because I need to do some work. And in that process of him hiding out, he was told to go and see a specific woman. And here's what I want to get to. Sometimes, we know our purpose. Like I know my purpose in life is to help other people around the world ignite and establish their purpose and then go out and make it happen. And sometimes, in the pursuit of purpose, it feels really big. And then sometimes God says, now, wait a minute, hold on, I need you to slow down because there's one person I need you to reach. And that's what he did to Elijah. He told Elijah, he said, I want you to go, and I have instructed a woman who lives in this place to feed you. And so, there's this drought going on, and Elijah finds this woman, and he finds out she's a widow woman, and she literally is taking the last bit of what she has to make her last meal. Like, she has decided in her mind that this is going to be her last meal. And she gets, the food together to cook for her and her son. And she's already decided we're going to die after this meal because the drought's going on. We ain't got nothing left. And Elijah said, well, cook for me. God instructed me, you're going to cook for me. So cook for me. And he said, I'm just going to read this to you. He said, don't worry about a thing. Go ahead and do what you've said. Go make the food. But first, make a small biscuit for me and bring it back here. And then go ahead and make that last meal that you said you were going to make. And this is the word of God. The jar of flour will not run out, and the bottle of oil will not become empty before God sends rain on the land and ends the drought. He said, do this one thing and you will have abundance. And so the woman went off and she did it. And just as Elijah asked, she turned out as he said, and daily food was there for her and her family. The jar of meal didn't run out, and the bottle of oil didn't become empty. So God used Elijah in this time of waiting, right, in this drought, to go into a very specific place and save the faith of a very specific person. You see, sometimes our purpose is huge, but our assignment may be minimal, right? Our assignment may be one person, but I guarantee you, to that woman, that assignment wasn't minimal. He saved her life. He saved her family. And I want to share something else with you about that. And, my husband was telling me about this coworker that he has, and he was telling me about this dream that he himself had, my husband had. And in this dream, he had this dream that he was real distraught about something, and in the middle of being distraught, he was trying to write down some things that he was grateful for. He was in this like group setting with a bunch of different people, and there was this like counselor or therapist that was walking around from person to person. And the therapist saw, okay, he's stuck, he's frozen, something's wrong. And so she's teaching this class, but she's hones in on him. And she starts talking to him, and he starts revealing, I've got this going on, and I've got this going on. Then all of a sudden he just breaks down into tears. And in that moment, the therapist just hugs him, and she's just present. And my husband shared with me, he said, I think I had this dream because one of my colleagues that I work with has shared with me about his story. And he was, his father had committed suicide, and his mom became devastated about that. And when he was a baby, he was pushed around from person to person. And so this coworker colleague is distraught, and that affects every area of his life. And my husband said, I think that I'm like the therapist in that situation. I'm the counselor. I'm the one that's supposed to be very present for this young man to show him, how to recover from those very devastating type of scenarios. And the reason I wanted to bring this to you today is because I think sometimes in this world that we're in, we get so wrapped up in the, enormity of what it is that we're supposed to accomplish, whether we're thinking we're going to go out there and save the world through a movie like Sound of Freedom, or we're going to get fired up on this huge nonprofit, or maybe you're running a church, or maybe you're running a business, and you get so into the details and the day-to-day of the management of the business, that we forget that a lot of times our assignment is just that one person. Elijah's assignment, his purpose was huge, and God fulfilled his purpose, right? If you read on I think it's Second Kings, if you read on, he continues and he fulfills the purpose and the call that God had for him. But because he was obedient in that one-on-one, he was able to change the life for the one. And, we all have that opportunity in our lives. We all are, by the grace of God, given people after people that just come into our lives. Maybe they call you on the phone. Maybe they show up at your house for, to sell you something. You're like, I don't want to be sold anything, right? Maybe they meet you at the end of a networking breakfast and they tell you something that you really, need to help encourage them with. I don't know how the person is going to reach you, but my prayer for you today is that, you are willing to be obedient in that time of waiting, or maybe in that process of transition of fulfilling your purpose. You see people the way that God sees people, and you share the love of Christ with them. And in that process, you give them sometimes the faith and the hope that they need to carry on to the next level. To be 100% transparent, yesterday I was feeling pretty down about a situation that I have been dealing with, and some people that I, respect and honor have just been kind of ugly, and somebody said something to me that was so encouraging, and they said it publicly, which kind of, completely took me off guard. But because of the pressure of the people that had been mean, I was questioning my impact in a certain area. And God used this other woman who was obedient in that moment to speak something into me that gave me an absolute encouraging blessing, to remind me that, yes, who I am matters and what I do makes a difference, even if, in spite of, nevertheless, regardless of how other people perceive it, God has a very special plan for me and a very special plan for you. So keep on keeping on. Remember that there is power in the one that you are supposed to reach and the one that you are supposed to make a difference for. And when you're obedient in that gives that other person the freedom to come in and be that impact for you as well. So my challenge to you today is to be present, be intentional, be obedient. When God gives you this big vision for your life and this big purpose, remember that there may be times of a drought. And in those times, He wants to use you to put life back into others. And those are the moments that are going to be written in your history. So God bless you, friends. Have a wonderful day, and we'll chat soon. Bye.